On the night of our 25th wedding anniversary, my husband Marcus gave me a letter instead of flowers. "Read it later," he said with a strange smile. When I opened it, the words made my heart stop. "Our marriage ends tonight. Found someone better. Pack your things and leave my house by morning." But he forgot one important thing. The house belonged to me, not him. I stood up, walked to the front of the room, and said words that made everyone gasp. "Let me tell you how it all started. My name is Rebecca Chen, and I'm 52 years old. 3 months ago, I noticed Marcus acting very strange. He started waking up at 5 in the morning to go running. Marcus never exercised before in his whole life. One morning, I heard him talking quietly in the bathroom. "I promise, sweetie, just wait a little longer," he whispered into his phone. "She doesn't know anything yet." My stomach felt sick. Who was he talking to? I pressed my ear against the door. "Mom already found a lawyer for me," Marcus continued. "After the party, everything will be done. She'll be so shocked she won't fight back." I stepped away from the door, my hands shaking. A lawyer. Party. What was Marcus planning? I walked back to our bedroom and sat on the bed. My mind was racing with questions. For the rest of that day, Marcus acted like nothing happened. He smiled at me during breakfast. He kissed my cheek before leaving for work. But I knew something terrible was coming. That afternoon I called my sister Emma. "Something is wrong with Marcus," I told her. "I think he's planning something bad." Emma was quiet for a moment. "Rebecca, you need to be careful," she said. "Start paying attention to everything." So I did. I started watching Marcus like a detective. The next day, I checked his jacket pockets while he was sleeping. I found a receipt from a fancy jewelry store. It was for a diamond bracelet that cost $3,000. I never got a diamond bracelet. My heart sank. Then I found a business card in his wallet. Julia Stone, event planner, luxury parties. Why would Marcus need a party planner? We always kept our anniversary celebrations small and simple. Just close family and a nice dinner. Now he was planning something big. That didn't make sense. Unless he was planning something else entirely. The next morning I pretended everything was normal. "Marcus, should we talk about our anniversary?" asked sweetly. He looked nervous. His face turned red. "Oh yes. I actually already planned everything," he said quickly. "I want it to be a surprise for you, darling. Trust me." Trust him. Those words felt like poison now. "That's so sweet of you," I lied with a smile. After he left for work, I did something I never thought I would do. I looked at his computer. Password was easy to guess. It was his mother's birthday. When the screen opened, I saw his search history. My blood ran cold. "How to divorce your wife quickly. Best lawyers for getting the house in divorce. How to hide money before divorce." I sat there, unable to move. Marcus was planning to divorce me. And he was trying to steal my house. The house my grandmother left me when she died 20 years ago. Let me explain. When Marcus and I got married, I owned this beautiful house in Portland. It was a gift from my grandmother Rosa. She raised me after my parents died in a car accident when I was 8. Grandma Rosa was everything to me. Before she passed away, she made sure the house was in my name only. "Rebecca, never let anyone take this from you," she told me on her deathbed. "This house is your safety. Your protection." I promised her I would keep it safe. Marcus moved into my house after we got married. Back then he was kind and loving. He worked as a teacher. We didn't have much money, but we were happy. We dreamed of having children and growing old together. But we never had kids. We tried for years, but it never happened. The doctors said there was nothing wrong with either of us. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Marcus took it very hard. His mother, Patricia Chen, made it worse. She kept saying mean things. "What good is a wife who can't give me grandchildren?" Patricia would say right in front of me. "My son wasted his best years on you." Those words hurt so much. But Marcus never defended me. He just sat there silently. As the years passed, Marcus changed. He became cold and distant. He started complaining about everything I did. "Why is dinner always so boring?" he would say. "Why don't you dress nicer? Why don't you act younger?" I tried so hard to make him happy. Cooked his favorite meals. Joined a gym. I bought new clothes. But nothing was ever good enough. Then Patricia started visiting more often. She would walk around my house, touching my furniture, looking at my things. "Rebecca dear," she said one day, "have you thought about what happens to this house if something happens to you? Maybe you should add Marcus's name to the ownership papers. You know, just in case." I felt a chill run down my back. "Why would I do that, Patricia?" I asked carefully. "Oh, no reason," she said with a fake smile. "I just worry about my son's future. You're getting older, you know. Health problems can happen." She was trying to trick me into giving away my house. But I wasn't stupid. "The house papers are safe, Patricia. Don't worry about them," I said firmly. Her smile disappeared for just a second. Then it came back, even faker than before. After she left, I went to check my safe. All my important papers were inside. The house deed showed only my name. Rebecca Chin. Not Marcus. Just me. But now I understood. Marcus and Patricia were planning to take my house from me. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed next to Marcus, and he felt like a stranger. How could the man I loved for 25 years do this to me? The next morning I made a decision. I wasn't going to sit around and wait for them to destroy me. I was going to fight back. First, I needed proof of everything. I took photos of Marcus's search history on his computer. I wrote down everything I heard him say on the phone. I kept every receipt I found. Then I called an old friend from college. Her name was Diana Park, and she was a lawyer now. "Diana, I need your help," I said. "It's urgent." We met at a coffee shop that afternoon. I told her everything. About Marcus's plans, about Patricia's tricks, about the anniversary party. Diana listened carefully, taking notes. "Rebecca, this is serious," she said when I finished. "But you're in a strong position. That house is yours. It was yours before the marriage. In Oregon law, that's called separate property. Marcus has no legal right to it at all." Relief washed over me. "Really?" Diana nodded. "Really. Even if he divorces you, he can't touch that house. It's protected." "But what if he tries to trick me into signing it over to him?" "Yes." "Don't sign anything without showing it to me first," Diana said seriously. "And Rebecca, there's something else you should know. If Marcus has been spending your shared money on another woman, you can prove he was wasting marital assets. That will help you in court." Shared money. I suddenly remembered something. I rushed home and checked our joint bank account online. My hands started shaking. Over the last 2 months, Marcus had taken out $25,000. I looked at what he spent it on. $3,000 at the jewelry store. $5,000 at expensive restaurants I'd never been to. $8,000 to the event planner Julia Stone. Another $4,000 to Patricia Chen with a note that said, "Lawyer fees." He was using my money to plan my destruction. I felt sick to my stomach. But then something else happened. An email arrived in my inbox. It was from a law office in New York. "Dear Mrs. Chen, we are writing to inform you about your Uncle George's estate." Uncle George. I hadn't seen him in 30 years. He was my mother's brother who moved to America before I was born. I barely remembered him. "Your uncle passed away last month," the email continued. "He had no children. According to his will, you are his only living relative. His estate is valued at approximately $2.8 million, including a penthouse apartment in Manhattan and various investments." I read the email 3 times. $2.8 million. A penthouse in Manhattan. This couldn't be real. But it was. The law office sent me official documents. Everything was legitimate. Uncle George had left me everything. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the papers. Suddenly I started laughing. Not happy laughing. The kind of laughing you do when something is so crazy you can't believe it. Marcus was planning to steal my house and leave me with nothing. But now I was a millionaire. He had no idea. I decided not to tell him. Not yet. Let him walk into his own trap. Over the next few weeks, Marcus got more and more excited about the anniversary party. "Everyone's coming," he told me one evening. "My colleagues, your co-workers, all our friends. It's going to be amazing." "Why such a big party?" I asked innocently. "Because I want to celebrate us properly," he said, but he wouldn't look me in the eye. Liar. I knew what he really wanted. He wanted witnesses. He was going to humiliate me in front of everyone so I'd be too embarrassed to fight the divorce. Meanwhile, I met with Diana again. We made a plan. "Don't react when he drops his bomb," she advised. "Stay calm. Let him finish. Then you speak." She helped me prepare what to say. We practiced it over and over until I had it memorized. I also did something else. I called a good friend, James Rodriguez, who worked in video production. "James, I need you to record my anniversary party," I said. "Can you hide cameras around the room?" "Sure, but why?" he asked, confused. "Just trust me," I said. "I need evidence of what's going to happen." The week before the party, Patricia came over again. This time she brought a folder. "Rebecca dear, I brought some papers for you to look at," she said sweetly. "They're just simple property transfer forms. For safety reasons. In case anything happens to you, the house would go directly to Marcus instead of getting stuck in court." She pushed the papers toward me. My hand wanted to grab them and rip them up. But I controlled myself. "Patricia, I'll think about it," I said with a fake smile. "Let me read them carefully first." Her face tightened. "There's nothing to think about, Rebecca. It's just a formality. Just sign them now." "I said I'll think about it," I repeated more firmly this time. Patricia's fake sweetness disappeared. Her eyes turned cold. "You know, Rebecca, after 25 years with no children, the least you could do is make sure Marcus is taken care of." "Marcus is a grown man with a job," I replied. "He can take care of himself." Patricia grabbed the papers and stood up angrily. "You're being very selfish," she hissed. Then she stormed out of my house. Let her be angry. Let them both think I was clueless and weak. They would learn the truth soon enough. The night before the anniversary, I barely slept. I kept thinking about everything that had happened. 25 years of marriage. 25 years of trying to be a good wife. And this was how Marcus repaid me. With lies and betrayal. But I wasn't going to cry anymore. I was done crying. Tomorrow, Marcus would learn a very important lesson. The day of the party arrived. I woke up early and got ready carefully. I chose a beautiful red dress that Grandma Rosa had bought me years ago. "Wear this when you need to be strong," she had told me. Today I needed all the strength I could find. Marcus was in a great mood. He whistled while getting dressed. He kept checking his phone and smiling. Probably texting his girlfriend. "You look nice," he said to me, but his voice was empty. "Thank you," I replied calmly. We drove to the restaurant in silence. The party was at a fancy place downtown called the Golden Pearl. Marcus had rented the entire main room. When we arrived, I saw about 80 people already there. Friends, family, co-workers. Everyone we knew. James gave me a tiny nod from the corner. His cameras were hidden and ready. Patricia was near the entrance, greeting guests. When she saw me, she smiled that fake smile again. The room looked beautiful. White and gold decorations everywhere. A huge banner that said, 25 years of love. What a joke. Everyone came up to congratulate us. 25 years. "You two are so lucky," people kept saying. "What's your secret?" If only they knew. Marcus kept looking at his watch. He was nervous, waiting for his big moment. Then I saw her. A young woman in a tight silver dress standing near the bar. She was maybe 28 years old with long blonde hair. She kept looking at Marcus and smiling. His girlfriend. She had some nerve showing up here. "Who's that?" I asked Marcus quietly. He barely glanced over. "Oh, that's Melissa. She's my new assistant at work." Liar again. I walked over to the bar to get water. As I got closer, I heard Melissa on her phone. "I can't wait for this to be over," she was whispering. "He promised me after tonight we can finally be together. He said she'll be so embarrassed, she'll sign whatever he wants." She didn't see me standing right behind her. "And then that big house will be ours," Melissa continued. "He said it's worth at least $800,000. Cleared my throat. Melissa spun around, her face going white. "Oh, hey. I was just," she stammered. "Just planning your future in my house?" I said quietly. Melissa's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Then she quickly walked away. I smiled to myself. Let her panic. The party continued. People ate, drank, and danced. Then Marcus stood up and tapped his glass with a spoon. The room got quiet. Everyone turned to look. "Friends, family, thank you all for being here tonight," Marcus began. His voice was loud and confident. 25 years ago, I married Rebecca. It was a big decision. I was young and didn't know what I was doing. Some people laughed nervously. I sat still, my face calm. "Over these years we've had good times and bad times," Marcus continued. "We dreamed of having a family, but that never happened. We dreamed of building a life together, but sometimes dreams change." The room was completely silent now. People were starting to look uncomfortable. "I've realized something important," Marcus said, his voice getting harder. "Sometimes we stay in situations that don't make us happy just because it's comfortable, just because it's familiar. But that's not really living, is it?" I could see people exchanging confused looks. "So tonight, on our 25th anniversary, I want to be honest," Marcus announced. "I want to be free. Rebecca has been a fine wife, but I need more. I need someone who understands me. Someone younger, more energetic. Someone who can give me the life I deserve." Gasps filled the room. People started whispering. Patricia was smiling smugly from her corner. "Therefore, I'm announcing tonight that I want a divorce," Marcus said loudly. "And I think it's fair that Rebecca moves out of the house. She can find a small apartment somewhere. Start fresh. I'll keep the house since I've maintained it all these years." The room exploded with shocked voices. My friend Sarah stood up, her face red with anger. "Marcus, are you insane?" she shouted. My co-worker Tom looked disgusted. "This is incredibly cruel," he said. But Marcus held up his hand. "Please let me finish. I've thought about this carefully. I've consulted with lawyers. I'm being very fair. Rebecca will get some money, enough to start over. But the house stays with me. That's final." He pulled an envelope from his jacket. "I have the divorce papers right here. All Rebecca needs to do is sign, and we can end this cleanly." He walked over and placed the envelope in front of me. Everyone stared. Some people were crying. Others looked angry. Patricia was practically glowing with happiness. Melissa, the girlfriend, was trying to hide behind a pillar, but everyone could see her. Marcus stood there waiting for me to break down, waiting for me to cry or scream or run away. Instead, I picked up the envelope. I opened it slowly. I read the first page. Then I stood up. The room went completely quiet. I walked to where Marcus had been standing. I took the microphone from his hand. "Thank you, Marcus," I said, my voice steady and clear. "That was very honest. And you're right. It's time for truth." Marcus looked confused. This wasn't how he expected me to react. "You want a divorce? Fine. We'll get divorced," I said. "You want me to move out? That's interesting." I turned to face all the guests. What Marcus forgot to mention is one small detail. The house isn't his. It was never his. That house belonged to my grandmother. She left it to me before Marcus and I even got married. Marcus's face went pale. "The house is in my name only," I continued. "Marcus has no legal right to it at all. Not one single brick." I pulled papers from my purse. "These are the property documents. As you can see, only my name appears. Rebecca Chin. Not Marcus Chin. Just me." I held them up so everyone could see. The room was absolutely silent. You could hear a pin drop. But wait, there's more, I said, feeling stronger with every word. 2 months ago, my Uncle George passed away in New York. I barely knew him. But he remembered me in his will. He left me everything. A penthouse in Manhattan worth $1.2 million. Investment accounts worth another $1.6 million. Total value, $2.8 million. Marcus grabbed onto a chair to steady himself. Patricia's face had gone from smug to horrified. So let me get this straight, I continued. You want to divorce me so you can keep my house. Except it's not your house. And you want to leave me with nothing. Except I'm actually a multi-millionaire now. I turned to Marcus. How much did you spend on this party, by the way? Marcus couldn't speak. His mouth was moving but no sound came out. I checked our bank account, I said. You spent $8,000 on this party. Plus another $17,000 over the last 2 months on gifts and dinners. I'm guessing those weren't for me. I pointed at Melissa hiding by the pillar. Would they be for her? Your assistant, Melissa. Melissa tried to disappear into the wall. Every eye in the room turned to her. You spent our shared money on your girlfriend, I said. That's called wasting marital assets. My lawyer explained that to me. People started shouting at Marcus. How could you do this? This is disgusting. You're a monster. Patricia tried to slip toward the exit, but my sister Emma blocked her way. Oh no, Mrs. Chen, Emma said loudly. You were part of this plan too. You tried to trick Rebecca into signing over her house. Everyone should know that. Patricia's face turned bright red. I was just trying to protect my son, she yelled. Protect him by stealing from his wife. Emma shot back. Marcus finally found his voice. Rebecca, wait. Let me explain. Explain what? I interrupted. Explain how you planned this for months. How you involved your mother and a lawyer. How you were going to humiliate me in front of everyone so I'd be too broken to fight. Held up my phone. By the way, I recorded several of your phone conversations, including the one where you told your mother I was naive like a child, and that I'd sign anything after tonight. Marcus looked like he might faint. I also have records of every dollar you spent on Melissa, I continued. Every restaurant, every gift, every hotel room. In Oregon, when one spouse wastes marital money on an affair, the other spouse gets compensation. You'll owe me for every penny you spent on her. The crowd was getting louder. People were yelling at Marcus and Patricia. Some were taking photos and videos. This was going to be all over social media by morning. Melissa suddenly ran for the door, crying. Marcus, you said this would be easy, she sobbed. You said she was stupid. You said she'd just leave. She pushed through the crowd and disappeared into the night. Marcus tried to follow her, but Tom and 2 other men blocked his way. You're not going anywhere until you apologize, Tom said firmly. Apologize? Marcus laughed bitterly. For what? For wanting to be happy. For being a lying, cheating thief, Sarah said. She walked up and threw her drink in his face. Everyone cheered. Marcus stood there, soaking wet, looking around desperately. He turned to his mother. Mom, help me. Patricia pushed through the crowd and grabbed his arm. Come on, we're leaving. Wait, I called out. They stopped. Before you go, Patricia, you should know something. You put your house up as collateral to pay for Marcus's lawyer, right? Her eyes went wide. How do you know about that? I know a lot of things, I said. And here's something you don't know. When Marcus loses in court, and he will lose, that lawyer is going to want his money. If Marcus can't pay, they'll take your house. Patricia's face crumbled. Marcus, what have you done? She whispered. Mom, it'll be fine, Marcus started. No, it won't, she screamed. You've ruined everything. You've ruined me. She slapped him hard across the face. Then she ran out of the restaurant, crying. Marcus stood alone in the middle of the room. Everyone staring at him with disgust. I think it's time for you to leave, I said quietly. But remember, you can't go to my house. That's my house. You'll need to find somewhere else to sleep tonight. Marcus looked at me with pure hatred. You'll regret this, he hissed. No, Marcus. You'll regret this, I replied. Every day for the rest of your life. Security guards came and escorted Marcus out. As soon as he was gone, the entire room burst into applause. People rushed over to hug me. Rebecca, you were amazing. I can't believe you stayed so calm. He got exactly what he deserved. My sister Emma hugged me tight. I'm so proud of you, she whispered in my ear. Diana the lawyer appeared from somewhere in the crowd. That was perfect, she said with a huge smile. I recorded everything. This will make the divorce case so easy. James the video guy gave me a thumbs up. He had captured everything on camera. We stayed at the party for another hour. But this time it was actually fun. People were dancing, laughing, celebrating. Not the anniversary. They were celebrating my freedom. When I finally got home that night, I stood in my living room. My house. My grandmother's house. Felt different now. It felt truly mine again. I made a cup of tea and sat by the window. The city lights twinkled outside. For the first time in months, I felt peaceful. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Marcus. Please, can we talk? I made a mistake. I deleted it without responding. Another text came. This time from Melissa. I'm sorry. I didn't know he was lying to me too. Delete. Then Patricia. Rebecca, please don't take my house. I'm an old woman. Where will I go? I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me felt bad for her. She was Marcus's mother. She believed his lies. But then I remembered how she tried to trick me into signing away my inheritance. How she called me worthless for not having children. How she smiled while planning my destruction. Delete. I turned off my phone and went to bed. For the first time in years, I slept through the whole night. No nightmares. No worries. Just peace. The next morning I met with Diana at her office. Okay, let's talk about what happens next, she said. First, Marcus will try to fight. He'll claim he contributed to the house value somehow. But he didn't, I said. I paid for every repair, every renovation, everything. I know. And we have receipts to prove it, Diana said. Second, he'll probably ask for alimony. He'll say he sacrificed his career to support you. That's ridiculous. We both worked full-time. I actually make more money than him. Again, we have evidence. Diana nodded. Third, he'll try to claim part of your uncle's inheritance. I felt a flash of anger. He can't have any of it. He won't get any, Diana assured me. You received that inheritance after he announced he wanted a divorce. It's completely separate. The law is very clear. What about the money he spent on Melissa? Yes. You'll get half of it back. Maybe more, since he was wasting marital assets, Diana explained. And there's something else. Marcus took out credit cards in both your names without telling you. My heart sank. What? He has $30,000 in credit card debt. All spent on Melissa and the lawyer, Diana said. But don't worry. We'll prove that you had no knowledge of this debt. The court will make him responsible for all of it. Over the next few weeks, the story spread everywhere. Someone at the party had posted the video online. It went viral. Millions of people watched Marcus announce his divorce plan, then watched me destroy him with the truth. The comments were brutal. That man is pure evil. She's a queen for staying so calm. This is what karma looks like. Marcus lost his teaching job. The school said his public behavior reflected poorly on their values. Melissa disappeared completely. Deleted all her social media accounts. Patricia had to sell her house to pay the lawyer. She moved into a small apartment across town. She tried calling me several times, but I never answered. 3 months later, we went to court. Marcus showed up with a cheap public defender. His expensive lawyer had dropped him when he couldn't pay. I arrived with Diana and we had everything ready. documents, recordings, receipts, videos, everything. The judge was a woman in her 60s named Judge Martinez. She reviewed all our evidence carefully. Then she looked at Marcus. "Mr. Chen, did you really spend $25,000 of marital funds on an extramarital affair?" she asked. Marcus's lawyer spoke up. "Your Honor, my client made some poor choices, but—" "Poor choices?" Judge Martinez interrupted. "He systematically planned to defraud his wife of her separate property. He wasted marital assets. He attempted to humiliate her publicly. These aren't poor choices. This is calculated cruelty." Marcus put his head in his hands. "The house on Rose Street belongs entirely to Mrs. Chen," the judge declared. "It was her separate property before the marriage. Mr. Chen has no claim to it whatsoever. Furthermore, the inheritance from George Chen belongs entirely to Mrs. Chen. It was received after the marriage dissolution was initiated." "Your Honor, my client needs somewhere to live," Marcus's lawyer said weakly. "Then perhaps he should have thought of that before he spent $25,000 on his girlfriend," Judge Martinez replied coldly. "Mrs. Chen will retain the house, the inheritance, and all separate property. The only marital assets are one car and a small vacation cabin. Those will be divided equally. However, due to Mr. Chen's waste of marital funds, Mrs. Chen is awarded an additional $12,500 in compensation. Mr. Chen is also responsible for all credit card debts incurred in both names, as Mrs. Chen proved she had no knowledge of these debts." Marcus's face was gray. He had lost everything. "Finally," Judge Martinez said, "I'm denying Mr. Chen's request for alimony. He has a good education and earning capacity. The reason he's in financial trouble is his own fault." She slammed her gavel. "Divorce granted. Next case." Walking out of that courthouse, I felt like I was floating. Diana hugged me tight. "You won everything," she said. "No," I replied. "I didn't win. I just kept what was always mine." That night, I celebrated with my sister Emma and my friends Sarah and Tom. We went to a nice restaurant. Not too fancy. Just comfortable and warm. "What are you going to do now?" Sarah asked. "Thought about it. I think I'm going to travel," I said. "I've never really been anywhere. Marcus always said we couldn't afford it." "Where will you go?" Emma asked excitedly. "Everywhere. Italy, Japan, Morocco, Argentina. Everywhere I've ever dreamed of. And when I come back, I'm going to open a bookstore. That was always my real dream." Over the next year, that's exactly what I did. I sold the Manhattan penthouse. I didn't need it. That money, plus Uncle George's investments, gave me more than enough to live on. I spent 6 months traveling around the world. I saw the Eiffel Tower. I walked through temples in Thailand. I danced at a festival in Brazil. I ate pizza in Naples. I watched the sunrise over Mount Fuji. Every morning I woke up in a new place and I felt grateful. Grateful to be free. Grateful to Grandma Rosa for giving me the house. Grateful to Uncle George for the inheritance. Grateful to myself for being strong. When I returned to Portland, I opened my bookstore. I called it Rosa's Reading Room after my grandmother. It was small and cozy, with comfortable chairs and soft lighting. I filled it with all kinds of books. Mysteries, romance, poetry, history. Everything. People loved it. Within a few months, it became a popular spot in the neighborhood. I hired 3 employees. All women who needed a second chance in life. One had just escaped an abusive marriage. One was a single mother struggling to make ends meet. One was an older woman who lost her retirement in a scam. We helped each other. We built something beautiful together. Sometimes customers would recognize me from the viral video. "Are you the woman who exposed her husband at the anniversary party?" they'd ask. At first I didn't know what to say. But eventually I learned to just smile and nod. "That's me," I'd say. "But that's not who I am. That was just one day of my life." One afternoon, about 18 months after the divorce, a woman came into the bookstore. She looked nervous and sad. Can I help you? Asked. She hesitated. Are you Rebecca Chen? Yes, I said carefully. I'm Angela Price, Marcus's new wife. My heart stopped. Marcus got remarried. I'm sorry to bother you, Angela continued quickly. But I needed to warn you. Marcus is planning something. I sat her down and made her some tea. Slowly her story came out. Marcus had met Angela 6 months after our divorce. She was a nurse, kind and trusting. He told her I was a terrible wife who stole everything from him. He said he was the victim. Angela believed him. They got married quickly. But then Angela started noticing things. Marcus was always on his phone. He spent money they didn't have. He lied constantly. Last week I found papers in his office, Angela said. He's trying to sue you again. He claims you hid assets during the divorce. He wants to reopen the case. I felt a wave of anger, but I stayed calm. Angela, thank you for telling me, I said. Do you have copies of those papers? She pulled them from her purse. I looked through them. It was all nonsense. Marcus was claiming I secretly knew about the inheritance before the divorce and hid it. Completely false. Why are you warning me? I asked. Aren't you on his side? Angela started crying. I'm pregnant, she said quietly. And I just realized I married a monster. He treats me the same way he treated you. He criticizes everything I do. His mother comes over and insults me. He spends money on himself but gets angry if I buy anything. I'm so sorry, I said, and I meant it. What are you going to do? I'm leaving him, Angela said firmly. After the baby is born, I'm filing for divorce. But I wanted to warn you first about his plans. I gave Angela my lawyer's contact information. I also gave her the number for a women's shelter and support group. You're not alone, I told her. There are people who can help. After she left, I called Diana immediately. Marcus is at it again, I said, and explained everything. Diana laughed. Let him try. He has no case. Timeline is clear. You received the inheritance after he announced the divorce. Plus, we have it all on video. What should I do? Nothing. If he files, we'll crush it. Again. But Marcus never filed. A week later, I heard through mutual friends that Angela had confronted him. She told him she knew about the lawsuit plan and that she was leaving him. Marcus had a breakdown. He apparently cried and begged Angela to stay. He promised to change. He promised to be better. Didn't work. Angela was smarter than I was. She left him immediately. She didn't wait 25 years. 2 years after my divorce, my bookstore was thriving. I had published my first book too. It was a memoir about my marriage and divorce. I called it The House That Saved Me. The book became a bestseller. Women all over the country wrote to me, sharing their own stories. Stories of husbands who betrayed them. Stories of families who tried to cheat them. Stories of finding strength when everything seemed lost. I read every single letter. I responded to as many as I could. One letter stuck with me. It was from a young woman named Maria. Dear Rebecca, I'm 28 years old, and my boyfriend wants me to put his name on my apartment lease. He says if I really loved him, I would trust him. Your story made me realize he's trying to trap me. Thank you for giving me the courage to say no. That letter made me cry. Not sad tears. Happy tears. If my painful story could help even one woman protect herself, then it was worth it. I started doing speaking events. I went to colleges, churches, community centers. I talked about financial independence, about protecting your assets, about recognizing red flags in relationships. Young women would come up to me afterward. My boyfriend wants me to quit my job. My husband wants access to my inheritance. My mother-in-law says I should add her son to my house deed. And I would tell them all the same thing. Trust your instincts. Protect what's yours. A real partner won't ask you to give up your security. 3 years after the divorce, I was invited to speak at a big conference in Chicago. When I finished my speech, there was a standing ovation. People were crying and hugging each other. During the book signing afterward, a woman in her 70s approached me. "Rebecca, I have to tell you something," she said. 30 years ago, I went through exactly what you did. My husband tried to steal my family business. He brought his girlfriend to our anniversary party. He tried to humiliate me in front of everyone. I was shocked. What happened? I fought back. Just like you, she said with a smile. I kept my business. I divorced him. And I've been happy ever since. She leaned in closer. These men think they're so clever, but they always underestimate us. And that's their biggest mistake. Hugged her. She was right. Marcus underestimated me. He saw me as quiet, passive, easy to control. He never imagined I would fight back. He never imagined I would win. And that was exactly why I did win. 4 years after the divorce, on what would have been our 29th anniversary, I was having dinner with friends when my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. "Hello," answered. "Rebecca." "It's Marcus." Froze. I hadn't heard his voice in years. "What do you want?" asked coldly. There was a long pause. Then he spoke, his voice broken and tired. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. You deserved better than what I did to you." I didn't know what to say. "I lost everything," Marcus continued. "My job, my house, my reputation. Angela left me. Melissa is married to someone else now. Even my mother won't talk to me anymore." "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because you were right," he said. "At the party you said I'd regret it every day. And I do. Every single day, I wake up and think about what I threw away. You were faithful, hardworking, honest. And I repaid you with cruelty." I sat there holding the phone, feeling nothing. No satisfaction. No sympathy. Nothing. "I'm not asking you to forgive me," Marcus said. "I know I don't deserve that. I just needed you to know that you won. Completely. I have nothing and you have everything. The way it should be." "Marcus," I said quietly. "I didn't win because I took things from you. I won because I refused to let you take things from me. There's a difference." Hung up. My friends were staring at me. "Was that him?" Ma asked. He nodded. "What did he want?" "To tell me he's sorry. To tell me I won." Sarah made a disgusted sound. "Too little, too late." "It doesn't matter," I said. "His apology doesn't change anything. I'm not happy because he's miserable. I'm happy because I'm free." And that was the truth. Marcus's suffering didn't give me joy. My own freedom did. That night I walked through my bookstore after closing. I touched the shelves full of books. I looked at the reading corner where customers gathered every Saturday for book club. I thought about my travels, my friends, my life. This was mine. All of it. Built by me for me. And no one could ever take it away. 5 years after the divorce I met someone. His name was David and he was a librarian. We met at a book fair where I was speaking. He was kind, gentle, and genuinely interested in my work. We started as friends. Just coffee sometimes, talking about books and life. Slowly it became more. But this time I was careful. I watched for red flags. I protected my boundaries. I kept my finances separate. "Rebecca," David said one day about 6 months into our relationship, "I want you to know something. I know about what happened with your ex-husband. And I want you to know that I respect everything you've built. I'm not here to take anything from you. I'm here to build something new together." I looked into his eyes, searching for deception. But I only saw honesty. "Thank you," I said. "That means more than you know." A year later David proposed. Not with a diamond ring. With a key. "This is the key to my apartment," he said. "I'm not asking you to give up your house. I'm offering to share my space with you. We can live wherever makes you happy. I just want to be with you." I started crying. These were happy tears. "Yes," I said. "But let's live in my house. It has more room and it holds good memories now." "Are you sure?" David asked. "What if things don't work out? I don't want you to feel like David, I interrupted. I'm not afraid anymore. I know how to protect myself. But I also know a good man when I see one. And you're a good man. We got married in a small ceremony at the bookstore. Just close friends and family. Emma was my maid of honor. Diana the lawyer was there. Sarah and Tom. All the people who had supported me. It was simple and beautiful and perfect. I wore a white dress, but not a traditional wedding dress. Just something comfortable and pretty. David wore a simple suit. We wrote our own vows. David went first. Rebecca, I promise to respect your independence. To support your dreams. To never ask you to be less than you are. To be your partner, not your owner. Then it was my turn. David, I promise to let you in. To trust again. To build a life with you based on honesty and respect. To be your partner, not your servant. We didn't have a big reception. Just cake and champagne in the bookstore. People gave speeches. Emma told embarrassing stories from our childhood. Diana joked about how I was her favorite client ever. Sarah said she always knew I deserved better than Marcus. And then someone unexpected showed up. It was Angela, Marcus's second ex-wife. She was holding a baby. I'm sorry to crash, she said. But I wanted to thank you in person. And to give you this. She handed me a card. Inside was a photo of her daughter. On the back she had written, "Her name is Rosa. I named her after your grandmother. Because your story gave me the courage to leave and protect my daughter. Thank you for showing me what strength looks like." I hugged Angela tight, both of us crying. She's beautiful, I whispered. Just like her name. After Angela left, David put his arm around me. You've helped so many people, he said. You're amazing. I'm not amazing, I replied. I'm just someone who refused to be a victim. Anyone can do that. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe not everyone could do what I did. Maybe it does take a special kind of strength to stand up when someone tries to tear you down. To fight back when everyone expects you to collapse. To protect what's yours when someone tries to steal it. 6 years after my divorce, I got a call from a television producer. They wanted to make a movie about my story. We think it's inspiring, the producer said. A woman who stood up to her husband's betrayal and came out on top. I thought about it for a week. On one hand, I had moved on. I didn't want to relive those painful memories. On the other hand, maybe the movie could help more women. Maybe it could show them that they don't have to accept betrayal. They don't have to give up their homes, their money, their power. Okay, I told the producer. But I have conditions. First, we show the truth. No sugarcoating. No making Marcus seem sympathetic. Second, part of the profits goes to organizations that help women escape bad marriages. Third, I have final approval on the script. The producer agreed. The movie was made 2 years later. They changed some names and details, but the core story was there. A woman betrayed by her husband. A man plotting to steal her house. Public confrontation. And a victory for the truth. The movie was called Not Your Property. It did well at the box office. But more importantly, it started conversations. Women all over the country began talking about financial abuse. About how men manipulate and control through money. About how important it is to keep some independence even in marriage. Laws even started to change. Several states passed new regulations protecting separate property in divorce. They called them Rebecca laws. Though my real name wasn't used. Felt proud. My pain had created something good. 7 years after the divorce, I was invited to give a TED Talk. I titled it, The House That Couldn't Be Taken. I stood on that stage in front of thousands of people, and I told my story one more time. My grandmother gave me a house, I said. But she really gave me something more important. She gave me independence. She gave me power. She gave me options. When my husband tried to take that house, he wasn't just trying to take a building. He was trying to take my power, my options, my future. But he couldn't, because I knew the truth. The house was mine, and I was willing to fight to keep it. The audience was silent, listening to every word. I'm not telling you this story to make you afraid of marriage, I continued. I'm telling you this story to remind you of something important. No matter how much you love someone, you have to protect yourself. You have to keep your power. Have your own bank account. Keep property in your name. Know your rights. Because if something goes wrong, you need to be able to stand on your own. Love is wonderful. Marriage can be beautiful. But independence is essential. When I finished, the standing ovation lasted for 5 minutes. People were crying, cheering, holding each other. After the talk, hundreds of women came up to me. Each one had a story. My husband wants me to quit my job. My boyfriend wants to manage my money. My family says I should give my brother half my inheritance. And to each one I said the same thing. Trust yourself. Protect yourself. You matter. 8 years after the divorce, I heard news through a mutual friend. Marcus was very sick. He had developed heart problems and was in the hospital. Patricia, his mother, had reached out. She wanted to know if I would visit him. I almost said no immediately. But then I thought about it. Not for Marcus. For me. I needed to close that chapter completely. So I went to the hospital. Marcus was in a small room, hooked up to machines. He looked old and frail. So different from the confident man who had tried to humiliate me years ago. Rebecca, he said weakly when he saw me. You came. Patricia asked me to, I said honestly. I'm here for 5 minutes. Then I'm leaving. Marcus nodded. I understand. But thank you for coming. We sat in silence for a moment. I want you to know, Marcus finally said, that I tell my story to other men now. As a warning. What do you mean? Yes. I'm in a support group. Men dealing with consequences of their actions. I tell them what I did to you. How I lost everything because of greed and selfishness. I tell them that if they're thinking about cheating or lying or stealing, they should think about me. Think about how it will end. I didn't know what to say. It won't undo what I did, Marcus continued. But maybe it will stop someone else from making the same mistakes. Maybe, I said. I stood up to leave. Rebecca, Marcus called out. Yeah. You look happy. I'm glad. You deserve it. Paused at the door. Marcus, I don't need your approval or your blessing. I made myself happy. I did that. Not you. And I walked out. That was the last time I saw Marcus. He died 2 months later. I went to the funeral. Not for him, but to show that I had truly moved on. I felt no joy in his death. But I felt no sadness either. Just nothing. He was part of my past. Painful part, but just one part. At the funeral, Patricia tried to approach me. Rebecca, she started. I held up my hand. Patricia, I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I don't want to carry anger anymore. But we're not friends. We never will be. She nodded and walked away. After the funeral, I went home to David. My husband. My real husband. The one who loved me for me, not for what he could take from me. How are you feeling? He asked, hugging me. Free, I said. Completely, totally free. 9 years after my divorce from Marcus, I celebrated my 60th birthday. We had a huge party at the bookstore. Friends, family, employees, customers. Everyone who mattered to me. David made a speech. Rebecca has taught me so many things, he said. But the most important is this. Strength isn't about never being hurt. Strength is about standing back up when someone tries to knock you down. Everyone raised their glasses. To Rebecca, they shouted. I looked around the room at all these amazing people. People who loved me. People I had helped. People who had helped me. This was my life. My beautiful, hard-won, precious life. Later that night, after everyone had gone home, I walked through my house. Grandma Rosa's house. My house. I touched the walls, the furniture, the photographs. Every inch of this place represented survival. Represented strength. Represented me. I went to my desk and pulled out a notebook. I started writing. Dear women who are reading this, I wrote. If you're in a situation like I was, please know this. You are stronger than you think. You have more power than he wants you to believe. You deserve more than crumbs of respect. Protect yourself. Trust your instincts. Keep your independence. And if he tries to take what's yours, fight back. With lawyers, with truth, with courage. You don't have to accept betrayal. You don't have to give up your home. You don't have to be small so he can feel big. Stand up. Speak up. Take up space. The world belongs to you too. I finished writing and closed the notebook. Someday I would add this to my next book. But for now it was just for me. A reminder of how far I'd come. 10 years after my divorce, I stood in my bookstore on a regular Tuesday morning. A young woman came in, looking nervous. "Can I help you?" I asked. She hesitated. "Are you Rebecca Chen?" "The Rebecca Chen." "That's me," I smiled. "I need help," she said, tears filling her eyes. "My husband is trying to take my business. He says it should be half his because we're married. But I built it before we even met." My heart broke for her. I recognized that fear in her eyes. I'd felt it too. "Sit down," I said gently. "Tell me everything." And as she told her story, I gave her the same advice Diana had given me years ago. I gave her my lawyer's number. I told her about her rights. I reminded her that she was strong. "You can get through this," I told her. "I promise you. Feels impossible now, but you will survive. You will rebuild. You will be happy again." She hugged me, crying. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for showing us that we can fight back." After she left, I felt that familiar feeling of purpose. This was why I told my story over and over. This was why I wrote books and gave speeches. Not for fame or money, but to help women like her. Women like me. Women who deserved better. That night, I sat on my porch with David. We held hands and watched the sunset. "Do you ever wish things had turned out differently?" David asked. "With Marcus, I mean. Do you wish he had been a better man?" "Thought about it." "No," I said finally. "Because if he had been different, I wouldn't have learned what I'm truly capable of. I wouldn't have found my purpose. I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't be who I am now. And I really like who I am." David squeezed my hand. "I like who you are too." We sat there in comfortable silence, watching the sun sink below the horizon. My phone buzzed. It was an email from a woman I'd never met. "Dear Rebecca, I just read your book. My husband has been pressuring me to add his name to my family's restaurant. After reading your story, I said no. He got angry and left. I thought I would feel sad, but I feel relieved. Thank you for giving me permission to protect myself." I showed the email to David. He smiled. "You're changing lives." "We all are," I said. "Every woman who stands up for herself is changing the world a little bit." As the stars came out, I thought about my journey. From a naive young woman in love, to a betrayed wife planning her escape, to a divorced woman rebuilding her life, to a successful business owner, to a happily remarried woman, to someone who helps others find their strength. Had been hard, so hard. There were nights I cried myself to sleep, days I wanted to give up, moments I felt worthless and broken. But I didn't give up, fought back, and I won. Not just the house or the money. I won something more important. I won myself back. 11 years after the divorce, I was invited to speak at the United Nations for International Women's Day. Standing on that stage, representing women from all over the world, I felt overwhelmed with emotion. "Economic abuse is violence," I told the assembled leaders and activists. "When a man tries to control a woman through money, that is violence. When he tries to steal her property, that is violence. When he tries to make her financially dependent, that is violence. We need laws that protect women's assets. We need education about financial independence. We need to teach girls that they have the right to their own money, their own property, their own power." The speech was broadcast around the world. I received messages from women in dozens of countries, all with similar stories. Husbands trying to take their land. Families pressuring them to give up inheritance. Communities telling them that independence was selfish. And to all of them I had the same message. You deserve to own your own life. Today, 12 years after my divorce, I'm writing the end of this story. But it's not really the end. It's just a chapter. My bookstore is thriving. My marriage to David is strong. My books continue to help women. And every day I wake up in my house. The house my grandmother gave me. The house I fought to keep. The house that saved my life. I'm 63 years old now. My hair is gray. My face has wrinkles. But I've never felt more beautiful. 'Cause I know who I am. I know what I'm worth. And I know that no one can ever take that away from me again. If you're reading this, whoever you are, wherever you are, remember this. You are not property. Your home is not his to take. Your money is not his to control. Your future is not his to decide. Stand up. Fight back. Protect what's yours. And if he says you're being selfish, if he says you don't trust him, if he says you're not a good wife, remember. A good partner will never ask you to give up your security. Love should make you stronger, not weaker. So be strong. Be brave. Be free. Just like I am now. Did you like my story? Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment about your own journey. And remember, you are stronger than you know. This is Granny's voice, reminding you that your story matters. Thank you for listening. Until next time, stay strong and stay free. With love and strength.
Thank you all for watching to this very end. This story was written by me and narrated using a female AI voiceover. Happy New Year to you all.